What is good, everybody? Tunji from Ceasar Graphics. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to make this social media let us worship banner. So I'm not gonna be putting the exercise file for this tutorial in the description section because this project is for a client. All right. So sit back, relax, and keep watching. So I already created a new document. So the frame size for this document is 800 by 800 pixels. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag the image of my characters here. So I have them here already cropped. So I'm going to start with this. I'm going to drag this and drop here like so. And because I don't want to lose the quality of the image, I'm going to convert this to a smart object. So I'm going to zoom out and scale this down. All right, so this is it here. So I'm going to drag this and drop here. All right. Then I'll right click again on this and convert this to a smart object, and I'll activate the free transform and just scale this down like so. All right, now this should be smaller. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the color of my background to blue because I'm using a blue background for the project. All right, now select the OK button, select my background layer, and so I'm going to apply it with my shortcut here. So I'm going to hold down Alt and Backspace, and I think this is looking too dark for me. I'm going to activate levels on it, and I'm just going to increase the brightness a bit. I'm going to select the OK button, then I'm going to hide this for now, and on this layer I'm going to activate the gradient map on it, and I'm going to say I only want this to affect the layer of my subject here. So I'm going to be on the thumbnail of the gradient map, and I'll go to the gradient editor here, and I'll double click here and sample this blue that I use here like so, and I'm going to make this a bit darker like so. All right, and I'm going to select the OK button, and next is to activate another slider here, and I'm going to click here and just sample the color of my background here and select the OK button. And this very last one here, which is going to serve as my highlight, is going to be white. Okay, so I'm going to make this white like so, and I'm going to select the OK button. And so I want this to be darker, so I'm just going to move this here like so. All right, this should be here. All right, so I'm going to select the OK button. Then I'm going to make a duplicate of the gradient map, and I'm going to position this above. Sorry. So I'm going to position this here, and I'm going to hold on Alt and say I only want this to affect this layer here. So I'm going to make the layer visible, and I'm going to hold on Alt and click like so. Now we have that only on the layer. Now you see the way it is now. The processor is looking too busy, so we have to make this look simple. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fade out the bottom part of our subjects. So I'm going to start with this, and I'm going to add a layer mask to it, and I'm going to select the brush tool, and I'll go straight to my brush setting here, and I'm going to make sure that transfer is checked. Under this transfer settings, change your control to pen pressure. So if you don't have a graphics tablet, simply turn down your flow to 8, and you're still going to achieve the same move. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure that my foreground here is set to black. All right, and I'll scale down my brush and just gently fade this out. All right, then for this my subject here, I'm gonna make the same move again. You can just move this up here a bit and make it a bit smaller. So let's just brighten the project. So I'm gonna select levels and just increase the brightness of my levels like so. Background here is looking too flat, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut out this side of my subjects here. All right, and I'm going to hit Command J or Control J for PC users, and I'm going to position this behind this, and I'll go to the graded editor and just click this to just say I want this to apply to just only the layer, and I'll activate the free transform on that corner part from my subject. I'm going to hit the enter key, go to filter, blur gallery, and select fluid blur. So under my fluid blur setting here, I'm just going to move this up like so. All right, and I'm going to select the enter key, use the same gradient map. Again, I'm going to duplicate this here and just put this here like so. All right. So right now we can't really see anything, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate the levels. All right. Adjustment on it, and I'm just going to make it go darker a bit. So I'm going to move this in. Select the OK button, and I'm just going to move this up right about here. Go to the very first layer, and I'm going to put everything here in a group. So I should select the layers and hit Control G, and I'm going to create a new layer and just call this glow. All right. And I'll pick the color from my background here. All right. And I'll make this brighter. So, and I'm going to click once. I'll activate the fill transform on it and just position this somewhere around here. Then I'm going to change this to screen, and this should be here. So another thing we can do again is to make a copy of this again, and let's position this somewhere around here. So for this side here, make a new layer, change this to change my blend mode to screen, and this should go up here. It should be here, and I'm gonna select my brush tool here now, reduce my brush size, and I'm just gonna gently apply this somewhere here and activate levels. I'm gonna select the OK button, and now we have this. Now this is making sense already. I'm gonna drag that and I'm gonna drop this here, and this should be above all the layers. I'm gonna put this and convert this to smart object and scale this down. Alright, this should be here. So I'll rotate this, let's position this here. Alright, then I'll go straight to my curve adjustment here, and I'm gonna drag this down like so. Now this is affecting the entire project, but I don't want that to happen. I only want this to affect the minister's layer. So I'm gonna click on the clip icon here. Alright, then I'll move this up a bit. Let's push this here. Let's move this here like so. Yeah. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a hue saturation. Now make sure you're in the minister's layer before applying the hue saturation adjustment. Alright, so I'm gonna click on the hue saturation and just reduce the saturation a bit. Now the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to be able to play with the color of the shadow, the midtone, and the highlights. So I'm going to go straight to color balance here, and I'm going to click to say I only want this to affect the layer of the minister. Alright, so I'll start with the midtone. So on the midtone here, I'm just going to add yellow, alright, to this. And for my shadow, I'm going to add red to this like so. All right, so for the highlight, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to leave the highlights the way it is. And for this side of my character here, I want to create what I call unity. All right, so I'm going to sample a color from the background and select the OK button, and then create a new layer and call this light, or let's just call it rim light. So let's call light rim. All right, then I'm going to select the brush tool and reduce my brush size, and I'm just going to gently apply the color to this side of my subjects, because things like these are what always make good poster look successful. Okay, so I'm going to apply that here like so. Take this out from here, take this out from here, select the brush tool and just gently apply that here, and I'm going to change this to screen. Now I'm going to hold down Alt and clip this to just only the layer of my subject like so. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'll activate the levels on the rim light layer, and I'm going to make this darker like so. All right, then I'm going to select the OK button. Then the next thing I'm going to do again is to create a new layer and call this still rim lights. All right, so I'm going to call it rim light, and I'm going to call this 2. Okay, then I'll click this because I only want this to affect the layer of my subject here. Then I'll change my blend mode to color dodge and I'll double click on the layer to activate the layer style. All right, so I'm going to turn off transparent here and I'm going to select the OK button. Now watch this. Anything I apply, any color I apply to the layer now will come in a glow effect. All right, so I'm going to just apply that here like so, and I'm just going to gently apply that here like so. All right, and I can click here and just subject here. All right, so I'm just going to apply that here like so. So if you look at this side here, I have this highlight on the face of my subject here. Then I'll create a new layer again and call this lights. All right, and I'm going to select the brush tool again, increase my brush size and just gently apply that here like so. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing here, and the next thing I'm going to do is to blend the layer. So I'm going to double click on the light layer to activate the layer style, and I'm going to move, let's move this here, I'm going to move from this side down to the side like so, and I'm going to hold on alt and click to break the slider and just move this to the side and move this to this side like so. Now you see we have that blue color on the face of our subject. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here. What I'm going to do is I'll hide every other layer because the color on the face of my subject here is affecting what I'm doing. So I'm going to activate the hue saturation and click on this color picker icon here and just pick this color here. All right, and just dial this down like so. All right, now if I make this visible now, I believe that we should be able to have that blue color on the face of our subject. So let's see, where's the light? This is here. So I'm going to activate levels and just make this. So I'm going to move this here like so and select the OK button. Then I'll hold down Alt and click because I only want this to affect the layer of my subject here. Now this is it, right? This is looking more like it. All right. So another thing I'm going to do to this again is to add the selective color adjustment to apply orange to the face of my subject here. All right. So I'm going to go down to neutrals here. I'm going to add red to this because the opposite of cyan here is red, and then the opposite of magenta here is green, and then the opposite of yellow here is blue. All right, so I'm going to move this down to the side like so to add red to it, and under my yellow here I'm just going to move this to this side like so. All right, then go back to the color balance, and under the highlight here I'm going to add yellow to it just like so. Okay, and if I zoom out now, you see we have this. I'm going to put all of this in a group. Okay, so we have this. So I'm going to create a new layer again and call this noise. All right, then I'm going to change my mode to soft light, and I'll check the fill with soft light neutral color 50% glow option, and I'm going to select the OK button. All right, then I'll go to filter noise and say add noise. All right, then I'm going to move this down and I'll check the monochromatic option here and select the OK button. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to stamp visible of the layers. So I'm going to hold on Ctrl Shift Alt and E to do that, and I'll go to filter and go to sharpen and add Smart Sharpen. Now the idea of adding Smart Sharpen is to add contrast to the pixels. All right, so I'm going to move this back a bit like so, and move this also back a bit like so. Right, so go back a bit, so select the OK button. So this is looking more like it. So what I'm going to do next is to add my details. All right, So I'm going to start with the title that says "Let Us Worship." So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to just put that somewhere around here, like so, and move this up here, like so. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna make this 0. Close this. So, or better still, let's just use a better font. So I'm gonna use let's see, let's use Clear Redone. All right. So I'm gonna use this. Can use another font for this. So I'll change this to this, and this should be here. For visibility sake. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break this. So I'm just gonna click, select my pen tool, and just gonna click here. Listen, guys, there are times you need to do this. All right. So I'm gonna click this here and hit the Enter key and add a layer mask to it. I hit Ctrl I to reverse the mask, and then we have this. Okay. All right. Then I'm going to copy the rider that says midweek service. So I'm just gonna paste that here. So let's see if I use avant-garde. So what's going to look like? I think avant-garde is not bad. So I'm going to move this down. So what I can do is I can change the color of this. So hold on Control and click on the thumbnail to activate the marquee. To activate marquee on it, and I'm going to go to select, modify, and I'll hit expand. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I like where I have the text now, but I'm having issues seeing the letters. All right, so that's the reason I decided to. That's why I'm making this move. Okay, so I'm going to change this to 3. All right, 3 is good. Then I'm going to select the worship text or layer, and I'm going to hold down Alt and click to add a layer mask to it. All right, so I'm going to you know what? Let's just change this to another font. So if I use Montserrat, um, so if I use this font here, this is good. So I'm gonna move this here. All right. So let's use medium and make this bolder. Okay. Then I'll make it smaller, and I'll add tracking to this. Date here, and I'll use Montserrat. This should be here. And I'm gonna change this to white. Select the OK button. Position this here. So for this, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this 05.04 dot 2022. All right. So this is another way I always make this is another way I make my project look interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna make this smaller like so, and this should be here like so. All right, then I'll copy the venue and I'll paste that here, and I'll make this smaller, and I'll use medium. I'll close the tracking like so. Okay, and this should be here like so. All right, and I'll position this here. I'll make this bigger So because this is going to be on social media, it's better we make our text more visible, okay? Because it's not always good for people to find it difficult to read the content on your design, okay? So I'm going to move this out here like so, and I'm going to make this bolder, okay? So I'm going to position this here, and this should be here, this should be here, like so. I'm going to put all of this in a group, so I'll call this title. All right, and this should be here, like so, and this should be here. No, I'm gonna make that bigger, and a bit more strats. Okay, and this should be on bold, and this draw a shape here. All right, and I'm gonna make this shape white. Turn off stroke. Okay. So for the title, let's just move that up a bit, and every other thing follows. So move this up with it, like so. All right, and this should be here. Okay, and I'm gonna change the color of this to this, the stroke white, and make this no fill. Move this on here, like so. Okay, so for my background here, I'm still not filling it, so I'm gonna find something to do to it. But before I do that, I'm going to move this to somewhere around. Let's see if I move it here. Let's move it here. All right, this is not bad here, so I'm going to change the color to white. So this is what we have now. Okay, so for this, let's just make this a bit. Let's make it a bit different. So I'm going to move this a bit to this side, and I'll turn off this chain. Click on the layer mask and just move that mask a bit to this side, like so. All right. So for this, I'm going to close the tracking. All right, and I'm going to draw two shapes here. So this should be here. All right, and these shapes are going to share the same color. All right, one should be here, and the other one should be below this. Okay, so the upper one can go in a bit and say yes. All right, and I'm gonna put this down, and this should be here. Should be above the two shapes, and this should go here. I'm gonna move this in like so and add tracking to this. Can even make this smaller. All right, because since it's inside the shape, no matter how small it is, it will still be visible. Okay, so I'm gonna move this up here like so, and this is looking okay already. So we can even make this a bit smaller. Activate the free transform, make this smaller like so, and this should align well with the W. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure this is well aligned. All right, so I'm gonna move this here, take this out, and then we have this. So for my background here, so like I said, we need to add more drama to this. So I'll activate the curve adjustment and just drag this down like so, and I'm going to reverse the mask by hitting Ctrl I on my keyboard, or for Mac users you can use Command I. Okay, So I'm going to select my brush tool and increase my brush size and just gently take this out from here. I mean, add the curve, sorry. You should be add the curve, not take this out. So I'm going to just add the curve back to the scene like so. Okay. So another thing we can do again to make this look more interesting is to create a new layer and call this light again. And I'm going to sample a color from here with Alt. I'm holding out Alt now, and I'm going to reduce my brush size and just click once, activate the free transform on the layer and move this here and hit the enter key and then change this to screen. All right, change this to screen. Okay, just move this, make it bigger and just position this here like so. So for this side of my background, another thing we can do is to let's just put everything here in our group for now. All right, so I'm going to put everything here in a group. I'm going to call this details. Okay, and so I'm going to draw a shape here like so and hit Ctrl J on it, and I'm going to move this out, move this up here like so, and I'm going to go to filter, pixelate, and select mosaic here, and I'm going to make this real big like so. All right, it should be bigger. Okay, go to my blend mode and change this to overlay. All right, so I'm going to put this out like so, and we can even still drag this down like so as to make the background look more interesting. So I'm going to move this in a bit. So in order to make this look more fun, you can make a copy of this and just position this where you think it will look nice and just change the blend mode to screen. All right, so for this you can just add a layer mask, select the brush tool, and then take this. So make sure this is set to black. All right, make sure your foreground is set to black, and just take this out like so. So another thing I think we can do again to make this more look interesting is to add shadow to our title here. So I'll go straight to the title folder, hold down Control and activate the marquee on the title. So I'm gonna hold down Control and click. I'm gonna hold down Shift again and click on the Let Us, and now I'm gonna select the light layer and create a new layer and call this shadow. Select the OK button, and I'm gonna sample a color. Select the brush tool now, sample a color from here, then go back to the color and then make this darker like so, and hold down Alt and apply the color to the layer with Alt backspace and hit the Ctrl D to deselect the layer. And then I'm gonna just move this with my move tool. I'm just gonna use the up and down arrow key to push this out here like so, and we can just reduce the opacity like so. All right, just reduce the opacity like so. So for this, I think I should just make this a bit darker. So I'm gonna pick a color from here and just make this darker like so. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button and remember to click the post notification bell so you get notified when I post my tutorials. Remember to click the like button. Also share this video with your graphic design friends, and I'll see you again in the next one. Peace.